Mr. Bono. I'm very formal.
Mr. Bono.
Mr. Bono, thank you. This is very exciting. I don't think I've talked to another guest like this, but you have a tomorrow. They're announcing the Nobel Peace Prizes, and you've been nominated. You've been nominated.
Yeah,
you're nominated. We haven't heard. We find out tomorrow. I know the Nobel Committee is watching this show right now, hanging on your every word.
Yeah, well, then I better not say bollocks. But no, this is an incredible honor. To be nominated is already, way above my station. I don't think they're ever going to give that to a rock star, I can tell you. And there's people who probably deserve it more than I, people who work on the same issues, on AIDS and poverty issues. But I don't think it's going to happen for an Irish rock star, but I'm so deeply honored to even be thought of.
For those who don't know, let's talk about the one campaign, because it's attacking different problems in different ways. The one campaign.
It's kind of exciting what's happening on the one campaign. We started the year with this idea. Everyone wanted to work together on this Africa issue. You got a continent there that's just, really just bursting into flames. 40% Muslim. It's in our interest to make friends with them, right? It's much cheaper to make friends than it is to defend yourself against them later. You know what I mean? If they become enemies. So there's lots of reasons for doing this. The moral imperative, the security imperative. It's various different groups working under the same umbrella now, which is called the One Campaign. We wanted to get 1 million members by the end of the year. And I can tell you, when Tom Brady signed on in Boston this week, he was the 2 millionth member in October already.
It's amazing. It's exciting.
And this not to bore your arse on this, but it's really, by 2008, we're going to ask for 10 million. We will certainly have 5 million, and that makes us bigger than the NRA.
Well,
National Rifle Association.
Well, this is what's interesting to me. In this country right now, things are so polarized between the right and the left. What's interested me is your approach. Unlike a lot of people with celebrity clout, you have worked very hard to bring both sides together. When a lot of people just resort to name-calling, you've actually gotten in there. You've worked with some very conservative people. Jesse Helms. You worked with Jesse Helms, and you said, I think that I can get this guy to help us. I think a lot of people in your position would have dismissed him, but you didn't. You actually went and you convinced him to help.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily me that turned him around. I think it was his own conscience. He did an extraordinary thing, actually, for a politician. He publicly repented for the way he had thought about the AIDS emergency. And, Edge and other people in the group were like, please don't tell me you're meeting Jesse Helms. He dismantled the National Endowment for the Arts. And I said, look, we've got to make sure we don't divide the country on these issues. The people that we represent deserve that. They have no voice. They have nothing, actually. So we can't afford to make this left or right. We've got all kinds of conservative groups supporting. But, I mean, Jesse went as far as he turned up at a U2 show, which is kind of amazing.
I can't imagine. I've tried to imagine that. I heard Senator Jesse Helms at a U2 show. How was he? Was he rocking out in the aisle? Was he...
It was funny, actually. Afterwards, he said, he was very humble, actually. He said, all with their hands in the air. He said, they were blowing like a field of corn. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Good for him. Yeah. You've worked very closely with President Bush, and you are optimistic. You believe that he cares about these issues, and you've had success with him. Is that true?
Yeah, well, the United States has, under President Bush, has doubled, nearly trebled aid to Africa now. And the bad news is, started from a very low position. See, the bottom line argument here in the U.S. is people didn't believe that it was getting to the people that it was supposed to because of corruption and stuff like that. They didn't want their tax dollars redecorating presidential palaces. We've covered that now, okay? This is a new era of aid, and I think President Bush is moving forward. He needs your permission to spend what is your money in the end. That's what the One Campaign's about, is people getting out there. But yeah, no, he has done great work, and you don't have to agree with everything to get on with somebody. You just have to agree on one thing.
Well, that's the whole idea. You're also, one of the things that has always fascinated me, and something that I admire, is you are incredibly optimistic. You know, there's a lot of negativity out there. You're very optimistic. Sometimes you don't always get the news you want about, you know, world debt or about AIDS.
On debt. See, this is an amazing thing. And I fully understand why people should openly mock an Irish rock star wandering around your country reading to you the Declaration of Independence and trying to remind America of the great sort of poetic tracts that, you know, and that it is. You know, America's not just a country, it's an idea, as far as I'm concerned, and I love the idea. And I'm amazed I get away with talking about this stuff, and people laugh and people say, you know, go home. But on the debt issue, it's a great thing to be able to report on Conan O'Brien, to say that we started this 7 years ago. A lot of people work for this, but 36 of the poorest countries on the planet have had their debts entirely wiped out, not just by the United States, but all the rich countries and the World Bank and the IMF.
Tony Blair has been a big help as well. Yeah. And now they can educate themselves. They can do a lot of the things they couldn't do before. With that debt crippling them, there was so much they couldn't do, and this gives them a chance.
Yeah, and it's just the beginning. You know, it's the beginning of a new relationship between the rich, you know, the haves and the have-nothings at all. But you know, sometimes when people talk about Africa, and you know, you see these pictures, flies buzzing around people's faces. We've got to start describing this as an adventure, not a burden. You know, this is what does it say about us? This is a generation that has a chance, the first generation ever to have the technology, the resources, to actually turn around this extreme poverty trap. And I just can't think of a better thing to be doing with my time. This is the defining issue of our generation. I think it's like the civil rights struggle was in the 60s, or the anti-apartheid struggle in the 70s. It will define us, will define America, it will define Europe. They'll look back in 50 years and say, what did they do? What was their generation remembered for, apart from the internet and the war against terror, which are all very noble things.
Well, God bless. Thank you so much for talking about it here. We're going to take a break, and you two's going to play us out. Thank you so much. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We're going to play us out.